guys, I know Ashley said it earlier, but I can't even stress enough the importance of community. The importance of being involved in a community of real estate investors that want you to succeed, want to help you succeed. I remember when I first got started in real estate, the first thing they tell you to do is go to the local REIA. Has anyone ever heard that? Go to the local meetup, go to the local REIA, and I did that. And unfortunately, when I went to my local REIA, when I first got started, it was the exact opposite of what the community environment is here. The environment at that place was just, it was not collaboration over competitions, it was competition. It was how much people didn't want to share stuff. Most people didn't, at least that I talked to. And after a few years of doing real estate, why don't we just start something on our own and make it more about community? And that's probably the thing I'm most proud of when it comes to REI Live, is it is a true community. So if you're not plugged in, if you're not a member, you need to become a member. And if you're not plugged in, you need to get plugged in. I see so many familiar faces that have come through this group, and really, honestly, they wouldn't be in real estate right now if it weren't for a strong community like this. So just want to highly encourage you guys to do that. But with all that being said, guys, I can't tell you how excited I am right now. Every once in a while, we'll get some speakers in here that just really blow me away. Like I told you guys earlier, I've been following Keith for quite some time, and to see what he's been able to do in his business, and to see it kind of translate now to the sales side, teaching and training people all over the country. This man has spoken in Las Vegas. This man has spoken, obviously, in Atlanta. But guess what? He's never spoken in the state of Alabama before, but you know where he's from? He's from Huntsville. Guys, get up on your feet and do me a favor. Welcome to the front of the room, Alabama's own Ditty.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. You have to go down on the counter. So good. Everybody doing tonight? Everybody doing tonight, man? Listen, there's two things that's getting ready to happen. You know, we got a mixture here. How many people doing here? Anybody new? Where the seasoned vets at in here? I know we got some of that in here too. Alright, we got some people in the back. Well, there's two things getting ready to happen. You either gonna learn something tonight, or you gonna confirm something tonight, right? And that's the type of mindset I like to keep. It's the beginner's mindset. No matter what, I don't care if you did 200 deals, 300 deals, I don't care if you ain't done no deals. Always keep the beginner mindset, because you never know when you're gonna learn something. So let's get it moving, let's keep it moving. All right, real quick. So, you can follow me on Instagram, Real Estate Ditty. You can follow me on Clubhouse, Real Estate Ditty. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, the same thing. Facebook is Keith Everett Jr. So you guys can just, you can find me right there. I like to post a lot of content, really a lot on Instagram, but I am active on the other ones as well. All right, so I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. I've been down in Alabama for probably about 12 years now. I came down in 2009 to go to college. I honestly didn't even finish college. You know, I really was going for my parents. But one thing I learned is, I don't care what you're doing, if you ain't doing it for yourself, we all can say we're doing it for our family, we're doing it for our kids, but in your heart, if you're not doing it for yourself, you're not going to finish. I'm telling you, we can talk, of course you want to leave generational wealth, that's what we're supposed to do, right? It said in the Bible. But if you want to get something going and you want to master something, you got to have it in your own heart. You got to do it for you. Before you ever can do it for anybody else, you got to do it for you. All right? So, I started my real estate journey in 2016. It's been about, 5.5 years now. Before I was working at a factory, you know, typical working 12 to 16 hour shifts, 4-5 days a week. But one thing I realized is at the end of 2015, I ended up getting like a 15-cent raise. So I'm like, damn, that's all I'm worth? How many people here know what they're worth? Do everybody know their worth here? But one thing I did that wasn't typical, I ended up learning about real estate in February of 2016. I went on Instagram and I unfollowed all the BS. I ain't want to know BS. All success, that's it. If you ain't talking about success, if you ain't talking about nothing spiritual, guess what? I don't even want to see it. Because one thing I realized is if you're going to change your life, you got to be following success or following exactly what you're looking for. So I seen this guy named Nick Ruiz, and he was talking about getting into real estate with no money down. I'm like, dang, I ain't got no money to put down. But I was curious though. I wanted to learn. I wanted something new. On my lunch break at work, on my 9 to 5, guess what I was doing? I ain't want to be around nobody. You know, I sit by myself at lunch and just be praying. God, I know you got something different for me. I know this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. I know this ain't the dream that you got for me. So please, take the people that's not supposed to be around me from around me, and I want you to help me find my way. That's all I was thinking about. And that's how you got to be when you first start out something. How many people got 9 to 5 in here? That's cool. How many people want to really get off of it? So that means y'all got to double down. Y'all got to be thinking about, now you got to have real tunnel vision. Because don't nothing else matter. I don't know what happened to the mic. It's all good though. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah.
All right, so we cool. So listen. So that was my journey to get into the game. So I got into the game in February, right? I started taking action in March. My guy Nick had a book for $20. I literally done over 400 transactions in the last 5.5 years from a $20 book. You know why? Because guess what I was doing? Every chapter that I read in the book, guess what I was doing? I was taking notes. Some people just read a book just to be reading the book. But I was actually reading and taking notes. So when I got done with the whole book, it was time to take action. So in March of 2016, I ordered some bandit signs. Right? Well, actually, I didn't get a chance to order them yet because I couldn't really afford it. I went to Home Depot and they had some blank bandit signs. So I wrote "We Buy Houses" on there, cash, wrote the number. Start putting them everywhere. I didn't care where I had to put them at. I got that call. It was a guy it was an absentee owner in Washington, D.C., right? I pulled up to the house. I ain't know nothing about no HVAC. I ain't know nothing about the roof or what update it was or when what updated. I was just trying to get a deal off. Right? Because when you're struggling, you can't worry about getting it perfect. You can't worry about getting no LLC. I'm not going to tell nobody to do that, but guess what? I'm just telling you my journey. I couldn't afford no LLC at the time. I really was just trying to pay some bills and make sure I take care of my family. I had a lady at the time, which is my wife now, and I also had my son. He was a newborn. So I got the call, ended up locking up the deal for $28,000. The best thing that I ever did, instead of being selfish, I found somebody, right? Another wholesaler. We joint venture on the deal. We only made $5,000, but I took my $2,500. Guess what I did? I quit my job. I quit my job from 5 years, 401k, benefits and everything. Would I tell somebody else to do that? I can't do that. I know what I'm cut like. I don't know what everybody else cut like. I don't know if everybody willing to put themselves on the wall and go through a spiritual journey like I did. I thought I knew who God was, but I didn't. Until I quit that job and I put my back on the wall. And guess what? When I got that first deal off, I ain't get my next deal until like August. So now I put my family in a bind. My lady had to actually move to Birmingham, right? Because guess what? We had to work together as a team. You know, I was used to being the breadwinner, but guess what? I didn't have no pride. She was the breadwinner for a winner, but I was working though. I was working. 1 pair of pants, 2 shirts, and 1 pair of boots. Sold everything. I don't care. I don't never cherish nothing I can get back. It didn't matter. And I'm just talking to somebody who just really starting off their journey right now. It didn't matter. Let's keep it going. All right, who am I? So, if you take a look at this, I actually just got married last week. So, I'm definitely happy about that. So, that was actually my engagement picture. That right there is one of our 2-day events where we train people to actually scale up their business to 6 figures a month. We've been doing 6 figures a month as far as on the wholesale side since April of 2018. So we've been running the actual company for that long. Also, giving back. This one I actually was still working my 9 to 5. We have a charity at least 1 time a month. You got to give back. That's one thing I learned. The number 1 rule to success is you got to be able to give back. Let's keep it going. All right, so who have I served? So it's just a couple people right here. You know, it's easy for me to talk about my accomplishments, but, you know, at this point, man, I done helped so many people out, get off their jobs, you know, whether I joint venture with them, A guy just wrote me today and said I just helped him get $18,000 just from talking about exactly what I'm going to be teaching about today, which is acquisition. So y'all got to tune in for that for sure. All right, what have I done? Man, I've been all across I was just talking to Brian back there. I've been everywhere. It's crazy that I just spoke in Vegas, Phoenix, everywhere. Any guru you probably can name, I've probably almost been around them. But this is my first time speaking in Alabama. It's crazy, right? Right here, it's the All In. This one I kind of went viral. I think it was 2019, and I actually went out to Phoenix, and that was the first time I did a podcast live. Anybody ever seen this podcast interview? Did y'all like it? I really broke the internet because I gave my heart on there. I told my actual story. I gave everything that I had. This second one right here, anybody know who Steve Train is? If anybody knows Steve Train, you can't even get on his show without showing hoods. You know what the title of the show was? We had just did over $100,000 in wholesale fees in 1 week. 1 week, not no month, we talking a week. But you know why it was even more special? Because it was in the middle of the pandemic. We had just did a couple months ago 15,000. We was getting ready to break our whole office up. But we kept that faith. You gotta still have faith. We went from 15,000 a month to going on one of the biggest real estate podcasts and did 100K in a week. That's what you call jumping back and staying focused. Let's keep it moving. All right, so what are we gonna be going over today? So, a couple things we're going to be going over is Master Art of Acquisitions. I'm going to be talking about the 6 secret steps to making a cash offer. How many people need to get better at cold calling? Honestly. How many people be nervous when they're on the phone? They're like, damn, I just wish I could just get over it. Is anybody like that? We got to keep it real. Because I was nervous, though. I know I was nervous. But one thing I learned is anytime that, and still I get nervous. But when I get nervous, it makes me want to take action. Because one thing we all can agree on is this. Anytime you done made a phone call, ain't nobody had no funeral, had it? Nobody in here had a funeral for making a phone call. Is I wrong? Am I wrong? It's the facts, man. The facts is the facts. All right, so what we're going to be going over today to help you overcome the fear of making cash offers, to help your company generate more revenue, to help train your acquisitions team and your virtual assistants, to help identify the reasons why your offers may not be getting accepted, and also the results of making the correct offer. All right, so we're getting ready to start it. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm getting ready to break this thing all the way down to the point when it's time to make an offer, you ain't even nervous no more. Because most people, when you're nervous to make an offer, that means you ain't gathered enough information yet. Because when it's time to make an offer, I know that I done gathered the information that I needed. So why be nervous? Right, so number one is, the first secret is going to be, I'm going to talk about the introduction. When you first get on the phone, the first 10 seconds, what you need to say, what don't you need to say? What kind of tonality you need to have? Have you identified the 4 personality types? Number 2, we're going to talk about identifying all the decision makers. How many people then, when all the way through a call, they got to the end of the call, and they say, oh, I got to speak to my wife or my husband. Oh, I got to speak to my attorney or the real estate agent. Have anybody ever been through that? Yeah. All the time. It happens all the time. But what if I can teach you how to identify that up front, so if they do try to pull the card at the end, guess what? You know it got to be the price. Right? Number 3, secret number 3. It's upfront confirmation. So not only do you want to know who the decision makers are, hey, Mr. Seller, if we were able to get something approved for you today that works for the both of us and that you're absolutely happy with, where would that leave us at? Do you think we possibly can get the process started? Right? Number 4, we're going to talk about the property condition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show y'all multiple ways where y'all can get the price out of the seller logically, and I'm going to help y'all make y'all categorize the sellers. To the point that once you say, hey, listen, it's 2 different types of properties we're taking a look at. Right? I'm going to teach y'all how to make them categorize their own self, whether it's as-is condition or for retail price. I want y'all to stay with me. Number 5, we're going to talk about what's the reason that they want to sell. We make nobody motivated. But I'm going to teach y'all how to pull my motivation out. Because guess what? A lot of people that say, what's the reason you're looking to sell your property? And guess what they do? They go straight to the next question. Do y'all believe y'all can miss the report? You can miss the report because you didn't listen to the report. And most people all the time, they miss the report. And the last thing is, we're going to talk about benefits that you can add to the seller. And also we're going to talk about the timeline. So they kind of go hand in hand. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, secret number 1. The first 10 seconds of the call. Before you even get to the call, one thing I like to do is pre-call affirmations. Sometimes you got to get up and move around, right? I hope y'all writing this down. I am a closer. I am the best person for this job. Nobody is better prepared than me. I will add value to the seller. I will make a friend. I will solve a problem. I will add value. That's the 3 things you need to be telling yourself before every call. I just want to make a friend, solve a problem, and I'm looking to add value. If you leave out one of those things, guess what? If you didn't add value, but you did make a friend and solve a problem, guess what? You still got to add something to them. Because once you identify what the problem is, what value do you got to add? Right? Another thing is tonality. When you first get on the call, don't just go straight into it like you're a bill collector. A lot of y'all sound like y'all work for T-Mobile. or y'all calling, trying to, get somebody's student loans paid. Calm down. The best thing you got to offer is yourself. I think I read that in the Go Giver, right? The best thing you got to offer is you just being yourself. What do I mean by that? As soon as you get on the phone, what you can do is, if you're making a cold call, always assume it's that person. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Smith? How you doing today? Very polite, very enthusiastic, right? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing? I'm actually doing pretty good today. How your day been going so far? Right? So, always ask, how you doing? And how your day going? Don't just say, hey, is this Mr. Smith? Hey, this is Keith from Hometown Cash Bar. I'm calling about that property. Just pump your brakes a little bit. That's like you walking in somebody's house going straight to the refrigerator and you ain't even speak. Think about that though, seriously though. Let's think about that. That's kind of rude. If somebody walk in if somebody got in your car and they just turn the radio on and say, hey, how you doing? What's up? Would anybody think that's rude? So y'all talking to people. We talking to people. Why would somebody want you to buy their house, which they only gonna probably do it maybe 2, 3, 4 times in their whole life? Why should you be the one? Why should they trust you if you can't even introduce yourself correctly? Right? Because we all know that sellers do business with people that they trust. That's it. So when you get on the phone, be yourself. You ain't gotta be all tight, even if you got a script. You can go through the script, but be yourself. Hey, how you doing today? Act like you're talking to a family member or something like that. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How your day been going so far? Oh, my day been good. How your day been going? You know what? I'm just happy just to wake up another day. I'm sure we both can agree that that's something that we both should be grateful for. Once you start talking to them like that, they're going to open up because you're immediately different. Nobody else is going to really do that with it. Right? And then I'm going to tell them. Tell them what you're calling for. Hey, this is Keith. I'm actually calling a Hometown Cash Buyers. I'm actually one of the finance managers. That's one thing I figured out years ago. See, in our company, we hire people from the car lots. Mercedes-Benz. I got people in my company from Audi. I'm taking them off the car lots. But one thing I learned from them is, it's the lingo, the finance manager. Hey, let me get one of the buying specialists real quick. Let me see if we can get that price approved. When I start talking like that, the game changed. It ain't never been the same. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that when it's time to create urgency. So remember that, the introduction. When you first get on the phone, tonality gotta be good. Enthusiastic tonality. Now, if the seller having a bad day, guess what? Dumb the tonality down a little bit. Meet them exactly where they at. If they feeling sad, dumb the tonality. If they feeling happy, keep the tonality up. And always acknowledge what they tell you. If they tell you they having a bad day, I'm definitely sorry about you having a bad day. If they tell you they got to go to the dentist, hey, I understand you got to go to the dentist. Then you answer the question. That's how you start building a rapport. Right? Y'all still with me?
Yes, sir.
This making sense?
Yeah.
All right, last thing, 4 personality types. I listen to my calls all the time. I like to record my calls all the time. It's kind of like when you play sports and you watch game film. You can't be scared to really, practice yourself or listen to yourself. We like to use call reel. Anybody use call reel in here? One thing I like about call reel, it's like a phone system that we use in our company. You can record all the calls, right? Record all the calls, and it show you if you talking more than the seller. It show you if you talking 70% of the time and the seller only talking 30. That means you're talking too much. You ain't listening enough. So how can you close deals consistently on a high level if you always talking? You got to let them talk, right? So you got to pay attention to the type of sellers you're dealing with. Let's start off with the red. Most people get scared when the red seller comes. Just give me an offer. Give me a cash offer. What you got? Guess what? Stay on your own pace. Stay on your own pace. I don't care if you're new or you're a vet. Hey, I totally understand. Acknowledge them that you're looking to get a cash offer. Well, Mr. Seller, I plan on giving you a large amount of money in a short period of time. If you just give me a couple minutes of your time to ask you a couple additional questions, I just want to make sure I don't leave nothing on the table for you. You want me to give you a great offer, or you just want me to hurry up and give you a fast offer? Which one means more to you? And if they're not willing to give you no time, and you told them that you want to give them a large amount of money in a short period of time, they're not willing to give you that time, they're not motivated. You can't make nobody be motivated. Only thing we can do is bring more motivation out. That's all we can do. A yellow seller, emotional. Spend time with them. Really go towards the problem. Look for the problem. A lot of people get on the phone, they're not even looking for the problem. When you get on that phone, what the problem at? I need to find it. What's wrong with this person? Why do you want to sell the property? You can't be scared of that. Go straight towards the hard questions. The harder the questions that you ask, the more uncomfortable the questions that you ask, guess what? The more really the answer always going to be. You got to ask some uncomfortable questions. How you doing? Hey, what's the reason you're looking to sell the property? I just lost somebody. Everybody in here probably done lost somebody at this point. Right? None of us is exempt from that. So if you've been through something that they tell you that they're going through right now, why are we not relating to them? Relate to them. Tell them how you got through your problem. That's the person they're going to want to get a house to. Some of these people need you to hold their hand and carry them all the way through. And you got to be the person to do that. So a yellow seller, spend time with them. Sometimes they don't want to rush. Right? But with a yellow seller, which is emotional, sometimes you got to grab them by their hand, you got to carry them through the situation. Let's talk about a blue seller. Right? Somebody who may be analytical. You got to be careful with this person. Sometimes you got to know your game. Analytical people, guess what they like to do? They like to read over the paperwork. And if you're moving too fast, you'll come off untrustworthy. So remember that. Slow it down. Don't be scared to tell them what's going on. I like analytical people. People who say, oh, I know what's going on in the area. But listen, if you already know what's going on in the area, I'm sure me and you both can agree that in the condition the property is in, I don't think I can give you that price for that, right? I know you said you did your due diligence. What you think about that? Honestly, if you was in my shoes right now and you was looking to buy the property, let's be honest. Would you buy it for this price? Sometimes you got to put them in your shoes that you in. Honestly, Mr. Seller, considering that the work that the property needs, and we got to bring it up to 2021 standards. Honestly, how you feel about the price? Did you purchase the property for this price right now? From the time that you first bought the property, how's the condition from when you first bought it to it is right now? Right? And I'm going to teach y'all how to make them categorize themselves. Just give me a second. Last one. We did the red seller, emotional, analytical, easy going. This is the hardest one to go. The easy going person. You know why? Because I say you got a seller that you really can pay $80,000, right? But they say they want $60,000. Most people get happy. Oh, I can do that price. Now guess what's going to happen? They're going to use your price as a starting point, and they're going to start looking for more offers. You can't let it be that sweet. If it's an easy deal, I don't care if it's $100,000 you're about to make or $5,000. Inch them down. Considering that, we can't move very quickly. We do got to do a full renovation. I know you said that you don't want to put no work into the property. I respect that. I don't even want you to put any more money into it. But considering that, if I can't get something approved in the finance department, I mean, honestly, is that the absolute best you can do? But you got to be like that with every seller. I'm telling you, because if not, you're going to fumble the ball. I've seen it happen too many times. Let's keep it going. Y'all still with me?
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. Secret number 2, closing all parties. Let me put this down real quick. I don't even need this no more. All right, closing all parties. This is where it get real serious at right here. Most people, they fumble the ball because they never ask who all involved. After you get yourself a good intro, introduce yourself, tell them what you're looking for, tell them who you are. The first thing you do, hey, Mr. Seller, before we get started with the property details, and we start talking about the condition, let me ask you this. Is there any other decision makers on the property? I just want to make sure I'm not stepping in on anybody else's toes. Because if you respect them, I want to show them that same proper respect. Before you get started, identify who is all involved in the transaction. Because too many times people get to the end, and guess what you're doing? Oh, I didn't know you had a wife. Now look, you all out of sync at that point. Or they can play with your mind a little bit. Now, identify that up front. Who was all the decision makers you're dealing with? And I'm going to give y'all a trick. If there's multiple decision makers and you can't get them on the phone right then and there, guess what you do? Give them a price range. Never commit to a seller who's not willing to commit to you. Never. Why would you commit to them with a hard offer if they're not willing to commit to you? Does that make sense to anybody? Mm-hmm. Only give them a price range so they're ready to make that decision. And if you do need to speak to somebody later on and you got to do a follow-up call, just tell them, hey, listen, look, I can do anywhere between 90 to 100,000. I know you still got to, get with your sister. She's not available right now. Hey, let's see if we can have a phone call at 6 p.m. this evening. Let me get with my partner, and I want to see if we can get closer to that 100,000 and look like see if we can get this done. I mean, what do you think about that price? Okay, you good with the price range? Okay, let me ask you this. I mean, what do you think your sister is going to feel about that price, or your wife going to feel about that price? Get in the habit of asking that. Anytime you get off the phone with somebody and you don't get the deal signed, you need to know why. How you feel about that price? How you feel about that price range? How do you think your wife is going to feel about it? How do you think the realtor going to feel about it? The lawyer going to feel about it? Get them to talk to you. Our job is to know exactly how these people really feel. The only way you're going to do that is you got to get them to talk to you. So remember that. Identify all the decision makers up front. Number 3. Guess what we can do now? I totally understand that, you are the only decision maker on the property. Let me ask you this. If we were able to agree on the price today, and I was able to double confirm that with my partners and get that approved, where would that leave us at? Do you think we can get the process started? So not only that, we got a good intro, we identified all the decision makers, now we got an upfront confirmation that if we were able to agree on the price, guess what? They're ready to go. They're ready to sell now. So that's the third thing. We already got that out the door. So at least we know mentally in our mind that if we do come to an agreement, let's go and get the process started. Like, does this make sense to everybody? Get everything out the way up front? How many people haven't been doing that? Honestly. All right? Have anybody been doing that? That's pretty good. So remember that. Upfront confirmation. That's your best friend. Number 4. I ain't even going with the slides no more. I'm sorry, y'all. I need to keep it going. All right, number 4. Detailed property description. I'm going to teach y'all a trick real quick. This is so cold right here. I ain't going to lie to you. This right here, this has been helping me with negotiating. See, negotiating start at the beginning. Most people think negotiating is just numbers. Negotiating ain't just numbers. Right? This is what I do. Hey, Mr. Seller, I totally understand that we absolutely can get the process started. But let me ask you this real quick. I am an investor, and I do want to bring you in my world for one quick second. It's 2 different types of properties I'm taking a look at. I'm looking at properties that sold in as-is condition, and I'm also looking at properties that sold for retail that's been fully renovated up to 2021 standards. You know your property better than I do. Which category would you say your property best fits in? So, do you understand what I just talked? Now that the seller got to pick, my property is in as-is condition. Why would they say the property is in 2021 standards if they ain't did no renovations? So guess what you did? You made them categorize themselves, and now they can't say it's going to be, they can't ask for retail price. But if they categorize it as is, well, let me ask you this. If you were going to renovate it up to 2021 standards, what some of the things would you do to the property? So now you made them categorize themselves as is, and now they're telling you what they'll do to get it up to retail. So guess what? They can't ask for retail because they know you got to do some work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guarantee you use that. I guarantee that'll work every time. Guarantee it'll work. Right? So remember, it's two different types of properties: as is condition and properties that brought the 2021 standards that sold for retail. Make sure you tell them, Mr. Seller, you know your property better than I do, because logically they do. Which category would you say your property best fits in? Okay, as is condition. Okay, I mean, if you were going to bring it up to 2021 standards, what's some of the things you'll do to the property? Hear them out. Anything that they don't mention, ask them in twos. Because I'm not sure if anybody closing deals over the phone in here. So most people going to appointments. Okay, so we kind of do both. So what we do is, I would say about 85%, 90% we over the phone, because we're in a lot of virtual markets. We're in Huntsville, been in Birmingham since 2018. We're in Charlotte, we're in Atlanta, we're in Houston. So we got to close a lot of deals over the phone. We got to be real swift. But remember that. Ask questions and tools. So that way that you're not talking too much. What about the roof? What about the HVAC? What about the bathrooms? Hey, what about the roof? And when the last time was the AC unit, replaced? Let them talk to you. They got to tell you about the roof. They got to tell you about the AC unit. Then ask them, hey, what about the bathroom and the kitchen? When was the last time both of those things were replaced? That way it ain't seem like you just ask question after question. Roof, HVAC. Let them speak. That way you can sit back and listen. That way you can sit back and maybe run a couple comps or something like that. So remember that. When it comes to the property condition, make them categorize themselves, and also ask questions and tools. Right? And take the time. All right. Next thing. Let's keep it moving. Is this helping anybody out?
Yes.
All right. I know I said the decision makers was the most important, but I mean, compared to this, this can make or break the situation right here, right? Connection and rapport, right? The way you do that, always be relatable, be an active listener, don't miss the rapport, as we just talked about, low tonality, be ready to use the pain point questions, never make an offer without. This right here is so important right here, right? And it took me a while to really understand this part right here, because I used to always ask, hey, what's the reason you're looking to sell? Guess what they used to do? Oh, well, I had to evict the tenants. Oh, okay. Well, how soon you want to close? Guess what? I just missed it. The correct way to do it is, hey, what's the reason you're looking to sell the property? Right? Well, I just had to evict the tenants. Pause. Give them 2 to 3 minutes of your time. How long has this been going on? Make them talk to you. Oh, it's been going on for 6 months now. I mean, if you don't sell the property right now, do you see the situation getting better or do you see it getting worse? Well, I don't really see it getting better. If I was able to purchase the property cash and never had to put any more work into it and get you to your new destination, how would that make you feel? Right? Oh, that'd make me feel pretty good. You need them to talk to you. Make them talk to you. Right? Let them express themselves. You also can throw a little wrench in there. Let me ask you this. Have you thought about this? Maybe renting it back out, or maybe just fixing it up yourself? Make them tell you they don't want to do that. Sometimes we too arrogant. We think because we know the answer, we don't want them to say it. I learned it a long time ago. Even if you know the answer, it's better for them to say it than you know it. Every time. Make them tell you that they don't want to deal with it no more. Make them tell you that it'll feel good if you can get it off their hands. Spend about 2 to 3 minutes. Talk to them. I know that when I'm going through something, it kind of keeps me up at night. Would you say that's the same thing is going on with you on the property right now? And I always sound curious. Always. It's like a doctor. When you go to the doctor's office, when Doc come in, Doc put the gloves on. And he tap your knee with the thing. Is it going on? Everything good right here? Okay, what about right here? That's how you want to be with the sellers. Doc asks you questions because he's curious about it. So y'all need to be a doctor on the phone while you ask me questions. Right? So that makes sense? So remember, don't just ask them, what's the reason that they're looking to sell? Make sure that you ask them, how does that make you feel if I can get this situation off your shoulders? How long has this been going on? I mean, do you see it getting better or do you see it getting worse? Right? And one more thing, I just thought about something too, because I don't want to leave this out. I want to go back real quick, and we're going to go to the next one after this. How many people had trouble getting prices out of sellers? Honestly. I don't know what I want for the property. I got a couple different things, right? And I've been studying this stuff for years, just trying different things. Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, if you don't know what you want for the property, I understand that you don't know what you want for the property, but if I was able to get your price today and I was able to get something approved, if I was to come with an offer and you don't know what you want, then how would you know what to accept? If you don't know what you want for the property, if I did get something approved, how would you even know what to take for the property? Think about that. If you don't know what you want for it, how do you know if I do say something, how do you know you're going to take that offer? So if you just give me a price range, it don't have to be a hard offer. I just want to see if I can get something approved for you today. I mean, honestly, if it's going to work or it won't work. But the main thing is, I just want to make sure that I can get this off your hands today. Remember that. If you don't know what you want for it, if I got something approved, how would you know what to take for it or accept for it? Another thing, Mr. Seller, I understand you don't know what you want for the property, but if I told you I'd give you $1 million right now, I'm pretty sure you'll take it, right? Yeah, I'll definitely take it. But if I told you I'd give you $10,000, I mean, be honest with you, you'd probably hang up on me right now. Of course. Well, if you know what you would take and you know what you wouldn't take, then you got some type of price in mind that you want for the property. It just can be an offer. It don't have to be a hard number. Think about that. How you know you'll take $1 million, but you won't take 10, but you don't know what you want for it? Think about that. But you gotta have good tonality. You can't sound like a smart ass when you say it. Good tonality. Very poised. Alright, let's keep it moving. Alright, number 6, secret number 6. It's the company benefits. Another thing that you can do is, you can figure out, what's the timeline on it. Just think about it. We got the good intro. We already know the decision makers. We already got the upfront confirmation. We already got the condition of the property. We know exactly why they're looking to sell. So let me ask y'all this. After we figure out the benefits, are we qualified to make a cash offer now? Think about it. Why would you be scared to make a cash offer if you know the reason they want to sell, you went deep, you know the property condition, they categorize themselves, you know who the decision makers are, they say they're ready to go, but we can agree on the price. So what's the reason to be scared for after you add benefits to them? Honestly, is there any reason? Closing costs, of course. You got realtor fees, moving expenses, access to real estate agents, cash advance. That's something we do a lot. Sometimes you got to get a seller. We put $500 earnest money. Sometimes you may have to give them $500 and make sure that the way you draw it up is you're just giving them a cash advance. If the price is $100,000, hey, listen, I have no problem with advancing you $500, but guess what? You get an addendum and it just come out the purchase price. Right? You got to keep up with your costs. That's something that we do in our company. That's a KPI. Before we pay out anything to any acquisition managers, guess what? Let's look at everything that it took for us to do this transaction. We may have to go to the property 2 or 3 times. Guess what? Subtract that. Subtract that out before you start paying out. We got to be business people, right? Got to subtract that out. We got to remember that. Another thing, that's a seller cash advance. A seller holdback. This is the way that we got through the pandemic. This is the way that we was able to do what we did. This is the way we did $100,000 a week in the middle of the pandemic last year, right? It's the holdbacks. Anybody know what a holdback is? All right. Let's say we got a seller that they need the funds before they can move. I'm sure everybody has been in a situation that, damn, how can I get these people the funds so they can get their new place so they're able to move? Let's say the seller needs 30 days. They need 30 days. This is a great benefit. This is how we beat out a lot of competition. The seller needs 30 days. But they need to move into their new place in 30 days, but they need the funds. So what we do is we do a seller holdback, where instead of closing in 30 days to give them the funds, we close in, let's say, 7 to 10 days, right? Or 14 days. And we give them 90%. So let's say the purchase price is $100,000. First, you got to go to the cash buyer and make sure that's cool with them before you can even execute. So let's say the cash buyer was cool with that, right? So the purchase price I got with the seller is $100,000. I'm gonna give them 90% of the funds up front, which is $90,000. In 2 weeks, 90 grand. The remaining 10,000 that we owe the seller is stay in escrow with the title company, and they receive their funds, which they 100% out of the property. But it gives the seller the opportunity to get at least 90 grand out of the 100 up front, so they can get their new place. But the buyer he's happy because in the buyer's mind, he know that if the seller don't get out the place in 30 days, he got 10,000. The wholesaler, guess what? They ain't mad at all because we still get the fee up front. The seller get extra time and they get money up front. The buyer not tripping because they get 10,000. If they don't move, that's cool. And as a wholesaler, guess what? You still get your fee. So that's all it is, it's a holdback. I'm telling you right now, and you can use this situation with tenants. A lot of times tenants need over 30 days, or they may need 30 days. But the good thing about it is, somebody got some money in escrow. And if the buyer don't agree with it, or let's say the seller don't agree with it, you may have to go to the buyer, and you may have to hold a couple thousand of your funds. But the key to it is, you got to be the one to get it done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just keep it moving. Alright, so to recap it again, we call this the value stack. Rate of deduction, plus the benefits, upfront confirmation, property condition, what's the reason you want to sell, company benefits, and then you make the cash offer. It's that simple. I guarantee you, if you gather all this information, you're not going to be too much worried about it. Alright? Alright, real quick. So, a couple common objections. If the seller still wants to speak to another party, after they told you at the beginning, I'm going to ask somebody in the crowd something. If they already said that, they told you who all the decision makers was, and they said that if you agree on price, that they'd be willing to get the process started. If you get all the way down and get ready to go over the agreement, and they said you need to speak to somebody, what do y'all think the problem is? Exactly. It's the price. And you always ask them, hey, I told you to understand that you still need to speak to somebody, but honestly, I mean, how do you feel about that price? They're going to tell you every time. It's always the price. Every single time. Alright? Seller's not ready to get the process started today. Same thing. How you feel about the price most of the time. Cash offer may not work. You got to have multiple exit strategies. I'm going to be honest with you. At this point, we got what? 20, 22 deals in the pipeline right now? Most of the time, at this point, we just buying everything. I would encourage everybody, if you can, get some type of private capital or, some type of hard money loans. If anybody need that, y'all can take my email down because I do want to give everybody something. I want to give everybody a script. I want to give everybody a recording. If anybody need any type of private capital, my email is keith@hometowncashbuyers.com. I'll make sure I connect everybody with a good lender, all 50 states. I think it's interest rates. If you've done a couple transactions, last time I checked, like 7.9% interest or something like that.
Can you repeat that?
It's keith@hometowncashbuyers.com. I was supposed to come prepared, but if you're looking to get the script that I use, a call recording of me actually on the phone doing exactly what we're talking about, and if you're looking to get any type of private capital, I'm willing to give up that resource to everybody that came tonight. And I don't get nothing from that. I just want to just be a go-giver. That's it. Alright? Alright. Another thing. Please skip that. So, any questions? Any Q&A questions or anything like that?
I'm going to come up here real quick.
Yes, sir.
Because I got some questions for you.
Talk to me.
So I want to ask some questions too. But first, who's got questions for Ditty tonight? First of all, did he do a great job? Raise your hand and we're going to get some questions. Yes, sir.
How do you know when you're not offering too much?
That's a good thing. So this is what we do in our company because we move at such fast pace. So what we do is we look at what the cash investors are purchasing the properties for. right? And then we just make sure we're below that number. It's that simple. You're going to see similar trends. That's all we do, because we off the jump. We closing deals over the phone. So let's say the cash buyers are buying for it. We use prop screen, by the way. Let's say we're running the comp, and I like to line up the bedrooms, the bathrooms. When it comes to year built, 10 years up, I like to go 10 years back. I like to go 0.25, a quarter mile from the property. I like to try to stay in the subdivisions if I can. So I'm just taking a look at what did these investors buy the properties for in as-is condition. If I can't identify that, guess what? I go to the retail comps on prop screen, and I go to the transaction history. What did this person buy the property for before they even sold it? Now, if we're looking to do a flip, or we're looking to put the property on the market, then we'll go past the property and kind of take a look at, okay, what we looking at? How much equity do we really got if we was to flip the property? But if we're just doing a wholesale transaction, what did the cash investors buy it for, and we just subtract the fee? It's been working forever at this point.
Yes, sir. What's the systems that you have for your deal?
Polio. Right now, the setup we got, I got 2 acquisition managers looking to hire at least 2 more. We just hired another dispo manager actually yesterday. Today was his first day. We got 25 cold callers. So lead flow for us, we get anywhere between 40 to 50 filter leads every single day. 40 to 50. The people that's actually saying they want to sell. Right?
I had a question.
Yeah.
It just, did you set it up yourself? Because right now,
I got, yeah. If you, we got we use Polio.
yeah, I know Polio, but
Yeah.
I'm doing Polio now. Like I just kind of separated from a partnership.
Yeah.
And we was doing like Mojo and Ring Central, literally.
Just get with me. Just get with me.
Gotcha.
Keith, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
For the folks that are getting started, who in here is brand new, never done a deal? Brand new. Raise your hand up really, really high. Brand new, never done a deal. That's actually not that many. Who in here is still in their 9 to 5? I heard Keith ask that earlier. Who's still in their 9 to 5? Keep your hand up if you want to stay in your 9 to 5. Okay. 1. So obviously we got some folks in here who have either brand new, never done a deal, or maybe haven't done that many deals. For the folks kind of getting going,
Yeah.
a system like you have is not going to work for folks. Like 40, 50 qualified leads, I got 25 cold callers. That's not everybody in this room. First getting going. First thing they do. Second thing they do. Third thing they do.
So if I had to start all over again, and actually, I'm a big fan of driving for dollars. If anybody follow me on Instagram, I literally just got a deal, made $45K in 6 days from driving for dollars. 6 days, and it was a vacant lot. And the lot, it wasn't even a warranty deed, it was a quick claim. It's just that if anybody know anything about Huntsville, it's steaming right now. I don't care where you go, you can get it off, don't matter. So all I did was, I locked it up with the homeowner, drove for dollars, and the crazy part is, all I did was, I went driving, found the vacant property, right? I used the deal machine. The deal machine app, download it. What you can do is, you can keep up with all the properties that you got. So, found the property, end up skip tracing the homeowner with skipgenie.com. So, I drove, I put the vacant property in the deal machine, I used skipgenie.com to skip trace the homeowner, give you all the wireless numbers and everything. You can even skip trace yourself for you to see how accurate it is. Gave the guy a call about the property. Guess what? He didn't want to sell the property. But I didn't give up. Hey, well, I told him to understand that you didn't sell that property, that you possibly got any other properties to sell. Most people don't even ask that question because they get so defeated. So he told me about this vacant lot. I rolled past it, took a picture of it. There's builders everywhere in the area, right? And at first we thinking like, maybe we can't, it's a quick claim. So maybe nobody want it, but it's so hot that they willing to acquire the title. Got it for $25,000 in contract. Sent it to the investor. He paid what? $75 or something like that. 6 days, closed quick. That simple. So if anybody starting off right now, just get out there and drive for dollars, get in the field. Make some calls. Right? Because you never know that you may be running to your first 40 to 45,000 or 20,000 or 10,000, maybe 5,000. But you gotta take action. You're not gonna be perfect. Nobody's gonna be perfect. And for the people who do got a 9 to 5, you can really use that to your advantage. if you're looking to get rental properties. Right? I mean, I'm sure people know about, I'm sure anybody who got rental properties know that it's always good to have some type of 9 to 5 if you're not off yet. Because it shows the bank that you got some type of stability. So remember, download Deal Machine, get out there, find the vacant properties, put the vacant properties in there. I think now Deal Machine, you can skip tracing with that, but I've been using Skip Genie forever, and I trust they skip tracing. Or if you got a real bulk list, you can go to batch skip. That's what we use for bulk skip tracing. Individual skip tracing, Skip Genie. All you gotta do is call them. Cash buyers, there's multiple different ways. When I didn't really have money to get any softwares, all I did was go on Home Depot again, blank bandit signs. If I had a deal, I put them at least 3 bandit signs outside of every Home Depot in the city. Every Lowe's in the city, because guess what? Who goes to Home Depot and Lowe's? Come on, man. You know, contractors, cash buyers, they're going to call. That's an easy way. Or what you can do is realestatewealthnetwork.com. Been using them since 2016. It shows you every cash. I can find out any cash buyer in America for $247 a year. Any of them.
What is that again?
realestatewealthnetwork.com. I don't care what it is. If you need to find out who buying in your zip code, all you got to do is just, and they categorize it for you. If they only bought 1 property cash, guess what? They ain't going to have no star. If they bought 2 to 4 properties cash within the last year, they will give them a yellow star. If anybody bought 5 or more properties for cash in 1 year, they give them a green star. And you can filter it out to only yellow and green stars. And guess what? If you need to skip trace that person, you can go to Skip Genie. If they're an LLC, you need to figure out who the agent is, go to opencorporates.com. Put the LLC in there and find out who the agent is. Right? And then you skip trace them. But the key thing is just take action, man. It ain't no perfect way. My way may not be your way. Nobody's way gonna be the same. But one thing we all can do is take action.
We're about to wrap it up. We're gonna do a couple more. Yes, sir.
For a non-wholesaler who's
Yes, sir.
a cash buyer working 9 to 5, and not planning on quitting until I just have to because it's fun, right? Doing what you did, driving around, I'd like to get that for myself before I flip or a rental. Walk me through that, maybe a little bit more than what you did, talking with the guy. What are some of this acquisitions 101 that we can, but we're not on the phone, we don't have scripts.
Yes, sir.
Kind of
Yes, sir.
follow the same steps in a way?
Well, it's gonna be kind of be similar. It's gonna be the same thing. You just gotta just tell them, hey, listen, I would tell them what I do. Hey, I'm just looking for my next project. Just want to see where you possibly interested in selling. And from there, all you gotta do is qualify it, just like if you bought it from a wholesaler. You just want to know the condition of the property. And you just want to see if you can help them out of the situation. That's it. And it's actually better if you a cash buyer, because think about all the equity you're going to be able to purchase the properties with. And I got a script for you. If you need a script, if you shoot me an email, I'm willing to give you the script that we use. And I'm willing to give up a phone call. I literally just locked up a deal on the spot yesterday. So if you need to know how that call flow need to be, if anybody needs to know that, then hey, Keith at hometowncashbuyers.com.
Gold.
Could you wholesale commercial property / business?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to wholesale a warehouse in Charlotte right now. A warehouse.
All right, last one, last 2.
Okay. When you get something under contract, wholesale,
Yes.
do you have a formula for figuring out what kind of profit you want to make?
We just like to be below whatever they get. Like, so let's say for example, right? Let's say that the properties are going anywhere between, let's say, 70 to 90,000. 70,000 meaning the worst of the worst condition. 90,000 meaning still as is, but it's in pretty decent condition. It ain't just, it don't have like no mold or anything in the product. Let's say the 70,000 may have a little mold or something, right? So I like to make my first offer 50 to 60,000, right? And they may not take it. I may have to get the property at 75,000, but I still can sell it for 90 because guess what? It's not in the same condition as the 70. Or I may need to get it for 55,000 because it needs a lot of work, and I may only can sell it for 70. The key to it is you want to be below the lowest comp if you can, unless you see that the condition is pretty decent and you still can sell it for the as-is price, the highest of the highest comp for as-is properties, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to everybody? So when it comes to knowing what you're gonna make on the property, it's gonna come down to the condition of it. A lot of times it's gonna come down, you gotta know, of course we know it needs work, but is it unlivable or is it just livable? It may be rent ready, livable. Or it's like, okay, there's no way nobody gonna be able to be in this property.
That's what.
Just to piggyback off her question, like I'm trying to do everything virtually too. And a lot of time I'm finding that they'll say it's good, it's just paint, and then when we go out, it's a little bit more. So like if you locking it up over the phone, how do y'all work that part out? Because I'm struggling with that piece of it.
10-day due diligence period. We do it on every property. That's cool though. That's cool. It's cool if they tell you what the property needs and you go back to out to the property. So what we do is we lock up the deal. The next step is it goes to transactions. From transactions, they call a property specialist, which most people call the boots on the ground. If the property specialist go out to the property, take pictures, we get the pictures back, and it's not in the same condition as the homeowner explained, then guess what? We may have to get a price reduction, or sometimes we'll send it out to our cash buyers list to see where they come in at, and if we need to go back, then we'll go back. But for the 10-day due diligence period, just in case everything don't checks out, and you may not be able to move forward. I just don't want nobody to get stuck with no problems. That's what we do in our
Do you do
company.
like an addendum or you just email them and say we cancel it if you don't want to go down?
We got a cancellation.
Okay.
Yep.
Keith, I want to ask you one last question. I want to wrap up with this. I think a lot of people missed it. First of all, a lot of you took good notes. Great. It's awesome. I think a lot of folks missed that one of the first things Ditty said when he came up here. You told your story.
Yep.
About how I know you kind of went through it pretty quick, but you told your story about sacrifice.
Yep.
Sold everything. Went all in. You bet on yourself. I want you to spend these last few minutes talking about what the mindset of a wholesaler, real estate investor, what it takes to truly be, because we got the strategies. Strategies are everywhere, guys. They're all over YouTube. Follow him. Make sure you're following Ditty on IG. Gold left and right. But what I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen by teaching and coaching the past 5 years is it's all up here. It's all the mindset, because the reality of the situation is the failure rate in this business is 90+%. The failure rate is. And the difference is this right here. So I just want you to take a couple minutes and talk about the importance of having the right mindset.
I think it took a while, when I first got started, because, when I quit my job, I thought it was going to be easy. I didn't know that, once you accumulate a certain type of knowledge, that you got to pay for it. If that makes sense. If anybody read the Bible, then it tell you in the Bible that once you get good knowledge, you're going to have to put it to work. You got to pay for it. So what happened with me was I lost everything before I ever gained, and that was challenging. It was at one point in time I was sleeping on the box spring. You know what I mean? Because I was selling everything. I almost sold my apartment complex refrigerator so I could make it to the next appointment. Right? But one thing I learned is you have to build up your endurance. I feel like I was titled to get further than I was. I had to humble myself. Right? You got to humble yourself. And you got to be willing to take anything that come with this journey. If you're not willing to take anything that come with it, then you ain't going to make it through. You may take losses with it. All my friends, they weren't dealing with me like that no more. That was cool though. Because guess what? This is the journey that God got me destined on. I can't expect nobody else to be there for me. I look myself in the mirror. I never forget it. I used to feel sorry for myself. But I was watching T.D. Jakes, and he had said something one day, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You ain't the first, or you ain't going to be the last one. So once I looked myself in the mirror, and I said, I'm not feeling sorry for myself no more. And whatever come with this, the pain, the struggles, you got to get through it, because guess what? It is greener on the other side. I never thought that when 2017 came, when I linked up with my partner, who was going to do 45 deals that year, I never thought that 2018 we was gonna do 109 deals with 2 people with no office or no CRM system or team. You gotta go get it though. Even now, every Monday, my mindset is, where the next 100K at? Every Monday, where the next 100 at? I ain't thinking in 10s and 20s. So if you're thinking in 10s and 20s, guess what? Your action ain't gonna be like I'm about to take. You gotta be a go-getter, man. Hustle with no emotions. Check them on out when it's time to get to it. Because your emotions it's gonna hold you back every time. Oh, I don't want to make another call. They just told me no 30 times. Guess what? The more no's you get closer to the yes. That's still the motto to this day. You should be loving getting it. Every time they give you a no, yes. Yes. And that's what you got to get closer to. I'm telling you, you might struggle for a while. I read this book by Jim Rohn. It's called Season, the 4 Seasons. Right now, this season, my last season, I was getting married, preparing for a wedding. This 4th quarter season is coming up. I'm straight grinding. That's it. I might not answer my phone like that. We got a mission to carry out on. I'm only educating myself, putting it in action, and I'm taking massive action. Never do nothing tomorrow you can do today. Live by that every single day. I'm not about to put off something tomorrow. I know I can do it today. Write down your goals. Write down your checklist every day. I ain't telling you got to wake up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, but whatever time you pick, stick to it. You got to get prepared mentally or you're going to break. Just like Brian just said, 90% of people that was here when I was here, I don't know where a lot of these people at. But you got to be determined. You got to be determined that you're going to get it. So I hope this helped everybody else tonight, man. I hope at least everybody took at least one thing and they're going to go apply.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Just one thing.
You're set, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, give it one more time for Ditty.